Movies can have a lasting impression on you and bring back great memories. Certain images you will always remember. Things that have been with me all my life and keep getting added to with every movie I see.
I will turn this place into the fucking Wild Bunch if I think that you are fucking with me.
E.T. phone home.
This is the end of your rotten life, you motherfucking dope pusher!
You gotta be fucking kidding.
Welcome to My Cellular Heart Podcast, Season 4, Episode 144. On this podcast, we take two movies that live in our head and heart and put them together over two episodes by one topic or theme. There will be spoilers for every movie ever made. I am your host, Phillip Duke, and I'm here with...
his cousin Chip. Hello, everybody.
That's right. And we got no corrections this week.
None.
Yeah, none.
None
We were live, we were here, and I think we didn't really go off the cuff. So it's been 2 weeks. Sorry, everyone. But Chip was here in person. Now he's back on a monitor. I'm like, let him out. He's like, it's like the Phantom Zone.
Aquarium.
Yeah, it's the Phantom Zone. And can I feed you like a people aquarium? Can I drop food at the top?
I wish. I'm hungry.
I know, right? So anything, something exciting happened to us after we recorded. You want to tell about that?
Oh, yeah. We went to McFarlane's studios. Buddy of mine, Thomas, he's editor-in-chief there, and he brought us in, showed us the place. Unfortunately, McFarlane was not there, so that's sad because I couldn't shake the man's hand, which I don't even know if we would do that because of COVID, maybe a fist bump or something. But
I think so, because he was saying it was like, masks were optional and everybody's vaccinated. We were vaccinated. Yeah. So, but yeah, probably more of a fist bump now. But yeah.
But yeah, it was a good time being able to catch up with an old friend because we've known each other since we were in our 20s because we worked together, I believe, at the video game store together. It was our first time ever meeting. Yeah. And just went through stuff together in life in our 20s and stuff. And then we kind of just, life went different directions. We grew apart, just, didn't really talk much other than through social media. Connected more through social media and stuff. And, commented back and forth and liked each other's stuff for a bit. But then at some point he saw that I was back to doing some art type stuff and said, hey, you're ever around, you can come to the studio, I'll give you a tour. And I was like, shit, I don't live in Arizona anymore.
Yeah.
And of course, when it presented itself for me to go there because, I was coming to see you and gonna go see the parents' grave and everything like that, it just kind of worked out. And it was a great experience, and it was good being able to, after the actual tour, sit down and have a good conversation to catch up with Thomas, and it was a fun time.
And hear his story of how he became editor-in-chief of Spawn, being like, no, this is what I want. And he's like, well, you need more people. Let's hire more people. Okay. Now you're editor-in-chief. Yeah. So, it was very cool. Everybody I told, they were like, oh my God, like take pictures. I'm like, we took some pictures, but
Yeah, and it was, I don't know, for me it was, as much as I really want to become, especially now at this point in time, I've decided I want to be an inker for comic books. As much as I really want to do that and wanted to grill him for any information as far as how to do that, that he knows of, any inside stuff. I just really missed my friend. Yeah. And I think I really noticed it in the moment when I asked him about how he got to where he got, and he made the joke, which I of course didn't catch right away because that's true Thomas fashion. He's done that to me numerous times, where he gets you in a joke and you don't realize it, and you're like, oh crap. But I asked him, how'd you get here? And he goes, I drove. And I was like, no. And then I stopped, like, damn it.
Chip was like, how did you get here? And he goes, well, sometimes I take the bus, and Chip's like, what? And then I start laughing, and Chip, oh yeah, it's a joke. I get it.
And that was the thing, is that when I realized it and I looked up, Thomas has given me that Thomas smile that I've missed for a long time. Like, that's the dude, that's my buddy. Yeah. And when he smiled, I was like, God, I missed that dude. So
Yeah.
it kind of, when I left Arizona, it kind of sucked because I'm basically, missing being able to hang out with you anytime and just
Yeah.
go to Denny's and just bullshit for hours like we used to.
Yeah.
And hang out, and it would be nice to be able to do the podcast in person all the time.
Yeah.
But I also realized how much I missed my friend too.
Yeah.
I would love to actually be around there and be able to do stuff with him. But
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was fun having you here because you were like, that was a lot of driving, and I'm like, that's what I'm used to, like,
Yeah.
But you're from a small town, so you're like where you're at right now, so you're like, oh, it's just this, and we're like, we're just going. I told the story before, forgive me. I think I've told you, Chip, but had a friend of mine, my cousin Bridget, our cousin Bridget, found some guy in Ireland that she was writing online that she liked. He's like, I'm coming to town. I'll come there. I'll get to see you in person. Like, this will be great. She freaks out and gets scared and moves to New Orleans. Her and Rachel moved to New Orleans. She's like, so I'm gone. And I'm like, but the guy's coming. She's like, just tell him that I left. So he shows up in town, takes a cab to our house, to my apartment. And I'm just like, hey. And he's like, where's Bridget? And I go, she left. And he's like, what? I go, she went to New Orleans. He's like, but I'm here for 2 weeks. I'm like, well, you're hanging out with me now. So he slept on the couch. And one of those times I was like, yeah, maybe she didn't leave with Rachel because Rachel's like, I forget where she went, but she left and went. Oh, yeah, she went to Washington. I don't know. Anyway, she went somewhere. Bridget did. So Rachel and I are like, let's take him, Americanas, take him to Five and Diner. Like, it's a 50s joint. Like, this will be cool. So we get him in the car. We're driving a little bit. I think we did whatever we did. Or Rachel just smelled. Rachel's like, hey, is that you that stinks? Like, your BO is really bad. I'm like, it's not me. It's this guy. He's from Europe. Like, they don't shower all the time. They don't have hot water like we do all the time. Like, she's like, oh. So we're like, we're just going to drive over, take you to this place. So we're driving. He's like, where is this place? We've been on the road forever. And we're like, it's just across town. He's like, we would have packed a lunch and been to another country, leaving like, I'm like, oh shit. So I'm like, no. So to us, it was like, no, it's just right there. And it's like, no, it was like a 20-minute drive. And he's like, what the fuck? I thought we were just going over there. So anyway, it was fun. But yeah, Chip and I went to the comic book stores. We told you the store, the toy store, and all that stuff. It was a great time. And I was just rambling with all my jokes. And I'm like, am I a little too much? And Chip's like, yeah, a little bit. I'm like, wow.
Well, it's a lot of catching up to do.
Well, that too. And then me just being like, hey, I'm like you said, I'm hanging out with somebody. Like, usually my days off, I'm talking to you, maybe texting some people, but I'm at home, talking to the wife. She's at work, so I'm at home at night, just like, what do I do? Talking to the dogs, watching TV.
It's also doubling up on the idea that you were an only child.
Yeah.
So you had said that before, that because you're an only child, whenever you were hanging out with friends, you're like,
yeah.
talking.
Yeah, for sure. But let's get to the show, Chip. We could talk forever about our stuff, but let me give you a little history from Wikipedia about Flash Gordon. Wikipedia, I trust. They had a bunch of, what do we call that? Bibliography, whatever. Bunch of backup on where this is. So, Flash Gordon comic strip ran as a daily from, get this, 1934 to 1992, with the Sunday strip continuing until 2003. So, like, they would reruns. Reprints are still being syndicated by King Features Syndicate. The comic strip follows the adventures of Flash Gordon, a handsome polo player, and Yale University graduate, and his companions, Dale Arden.
Oh, he's fancy.
I know. And he's rich. And Dr. Hans Zarkov. The story begins with Earth threatened by a collision with the planet Mongo. Dr. Zarkov invents a rocket ship to fly into space in an attempt to stop the disaster. Half mad, he kidnaps Flash and Dale. Landing on the planet and halting the collision, they come into conflict with Ming the Merciless, Mongo's evil ruler. So for many years, the three companions have adventures on Mongo, traveling to the forest kingdom of Arborea, ruled by Prince Baron. the ice kingdom of Phrygia. It's funny, these names, too. It's like, what are we going to call this cold planet? It's frigid, right? Phrygia. Okay. Ruled by Queen Freya. The jungle kingdom of, what are we going to call a jungle, like a tropical planet? Tropica? Oh, yeah, there you go. Ruled by Queen Desira. The undersea kingdom of the Sharkmen, ruled by King Kala. And the flying city of the Hawkmen, ruled by Prince Vultan. They are joined in several early adventures by Prince Thun of the Lion Men. Eventually, Ming is overthrown, and Mongo is ruled by council of leaders led by Baron. Flash and friends visit Earth for a series of adventures before returning to Mongo and crashing in the kingdom of Tropica, later reuniting with Baron and others. Flash and his friends then travel to other worlds before returning once again to Mongo, where Prince Baron, married to Ming's daughter, Princess Aura, has established a peaceful rule, except for frequent revolts led by Ming or by one of his many descendants. So Ming is still trying to get it. In the 1950s, Flash becomes an astronaut who traveled to other planets besides Mongo. The long story of the Scorpii War takes Flash to other star systems using starships that are faster than light. And that's in 1950. That's crazy. Yeah. In addition to Ming and his allies, Flash and his friends also fought several other villains, including Azura, the Witch Queen, Bruca, chieftain of the Giants of Phrygia, the fascistic Red Sword organization on Earth, and Brazer, the tyrannical usurper of Tropica. After Raymond's tenure, so he was the one that created it, Alex Raymond. After his tenure, later writers created new enemies for Flash to combat. Austin Briggs created Kang the Cruel, Ming's callous son, Prince Pollen, who had the power to shrink or enlarge living creatures. That's kind of cool. The unscrupulous Queen Rubia and Pyron, the Comet Master, were among the antagonists introduced during Mac Raboy's run. So I don't know why. I mean, Alex Raymond drew it for a long time. And then they gave it to this other guy because Raymond went off to do something else. And then Raymond came back, but they were like, no, we're good. We're going to keep this guy. And it kind of sucks because you're like, no, keep the other guy.
Yeah.
The Scorpio.
You know what's weird, though?
Yeah.
You know what's weird about it, though? Is it makes me think of He-Man, and it makes me wish that they would have done it to where somebody would have, crash landed, from Earth, kind of like a Flash Gordon type of a thing. And that person was the one that was handed the sword of Grayskull to say, I'm He-Man,
instead of
power.
Instead of them coming to Earth.
Bullshit.
Yeah. Well, and instead of them coming to Earth, I mean, even the cartoon.
I'm talking about the cartoon.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Just getting that whole Prince Adam thing, where if it would have been cool if he would have been considered you were foretold as a chosen one to come from the stars, blah blah blah. Here's the sword, saved by the power of Grayskull, blah blah blah. That would have been so much better than Prince Adam bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. For sure. The Scorpii, a race of alien shapeshifters who desired to conquer the galaxy, were recurring villains in both the Mac Raboy, Arboy, Raboy, and Dan Barry stories. The Scorpii space fighter ace Baron Doc Tula became a periodic nemesis of Flash in the late 1970s stories. Now we're caught up to 1980. So there was 3 movies. There was the 1936 Flash Gordon, which it's a serial, which I started to watch. Then there was Flash Gordon Conquers something, and then there was another. There was 3 of them. And then the Purple Curse of Death or something. But they're all serials, and 36, 38, and 40 or something. And then they had an ongoing radio show for several years. And then at the end of the radio show, Flash Gordon landed back on Earth, but in Malaysia, and met a guy named Jungle Jim that was also King Syndicate creation. And then the next week, it started with Jungle Jim's adventures.
Weird.
Flash Gordon stopped, and now Jungle Jim started. It's kind of cool.
Huh.
But yeah, and then they did a TV show in the 55 to 56. They had a Flash Gordon TV show, which I found on Roku somewhere on one of these channels. And then they did, they said that they had some generic, a movie in 67 that somebody made, but, and then they had all the cartoons which you've seen. I think they're on HBO Max or somewhere. So there's like the New Adventures, which are actually like old, but they had to put a new name on them. But anyway, but what's cool about this was at first, Alex Raymond was like, I want to do John Carter of Mars.
Yeah.
And they were like, and they couldn't get the rights from, who's that guy's name? Guy that does Tarzan. I think he did Tarzan. Anyway, not Ed. He's got 3 names. Not Edgar Allan Poe, but the other guy. Anyway, so they couldn't get that. So they were like, "How
Arthur
about
Conan Doyle?"
That's Sherlock Holmes?" But I'm almost there,
okay.
Chip. I'm checking
I was like,
right
that
now.
was the
It's
name I
something
knew.
like that, though. Hang on, I'm bringing it up on. And that movie, I thought should have done better. But I mean, I like the premise of the movie, like a guy in the Old West, stuck on there. Edgar Rice Burroughs.
Burroughs.
Yeah. So, and I'm not sure about the Tarzan thing, but I think I'm right. But so then they said do Flash, and then he did. And so in the beginning of this movie that we're going to start to show in a minute, it shows the pictures. Those are his drawings of Flash Gordon. So it's pretty cool. So now let's get on with the show.
Okay, sounds good.
Join us for the fantastic adventures of Flash Gordon. Flash uses football to fight his enemy, Ming the Merciless.
Gliders, are your men on the right vitamins?
Will Flash's strategy prove successful? Will he survive? Find out now at a theater near you. Music by Queen. Rated PG.
Flash Gordon, 1980. The plot: a football player, not a polo player, and his friends travel to the planet Mongo and find themselves fighting the tyranny of Ming the Merciless to save Earth. Stars Sam J. Jones as Flash Gordon. So this is what I was telling Chip. So I've been talking to Chip through the time, and I'm like, I got something to tell you, but I can't tell you. I want to save it for the show. So on the 2015 documentary of Life After Flash, Sam Jones is an executive, like protection, like security, executive security, and he goes to Mexico all the time and like helps, like he knows the egress and the ingress points and like just knows what he's doing. And he said it took years until somebody finally was like, wait, aren't you that guy from Flash Gordon? And he's like, but by then I had already established myself. So it wasn't like, who the fuck is this? I got Liam Neeson watch me. Like, how good is, no, this is Sam Jones. Like, because he's from the Marines. So he knows what he's doing. So it was like, okay, cool. But during this movie, like he says it in the documentary that unfortunately his people that were, his managers and everything, he was like, what should I do? And they're like, hold out for more money. He's like, okay. So he's asking for more money. And he's kind of being bossy on the set, like telling people how to do their lines or what to do and all this stuff. Yeah. And so then Dino De Laurentiis is like, forget it. We don't need you then. And they dub over his voice on some of the things. And they don't. And they get rid of it. And it's like, but I signed a 3-picture contract. Oh, sorry. And the movie didn't do well. So, because they may have been able to meet and do something, but kind of like a George Lazenby situation where George Lazenby got James Bond just by sheer luck, and then was just being a dick, and so
just never be a dick.
Yep. Melody Anderson as Dale Arden, Max von Sydow as the Emperor Ming, Topol as Dr. Hans Zarkov. So speaking of 007. He's in For Your Eyes Only. And I was like, I really like him. And Joe's like, yeah, he's really cool. And then you realize, oh my God, that's a guy from fucking Fiddler on the Roof. And he's from Flash Gordon. You're like, oh shit, yeah, this guy's been in more shit. So it's really cool.
Why does he have a name like Madonna, though?
He has a first name. I found it actually on Wikipedia. It's like Chella or something, or Cheka something. Now you made me wanna. Now you're saying I'm not giving the guy the respect that he's due.
No, I was just wondering if he was that badass where they're like, we just call him by the one name.
you're saying Madonna's badass?
No, not anymore.
Oh, okay.
I
No.
think her gap tooth is more badass than her.
Wow. There's a whole documentary about gap teeth. I found it somewhere.
Oh, I thought you were going to
about
say about
actresses.
Madonna's gap tooth.
No, but about actresses with gap teeth. I'm sure Madonna's in there, Lauren Hutton, all these people. Hang on. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Wait for it.
That's good.
Damn it. Hang on.
Oh,
I had to
apparently
click
he was
it.
so
Okay.
close and he-
Chaim. Chaim. Like Haim. Because he's from like Israel. Yeah. Is an Israel actor, comedian, singer, film producer, author, and illustrator.
Oh,
He does what you do. But it was almost Warren Oates, our guy from Stripes. They were like, who should play Hans Zarkov? And they're going back and forth, Topol or Warren Oates. And then Dino De Laurentiis is like, flip a coin. So they flip a coin, and they pick Topol. So it could have easily been Warren Oates. Ornella Moody as Princess Aura. Timothy Dalton as Prince Baron. Brian Blessed as Prince Voltan. Now, I didn't look it up. I meant to. But Brian Blessed, that's the same Bluto, right? That's Bluto from our Popeye movie from 1980? No? Okay.
Nope.
Okay. Because he looks the same. He's got a beard. The other guy's got a beard. Aren't all bearded people the same?
Yeah, exactly.
The guy from Strange New Worlds, is that Prince Voltan?
Yes.
Peter Weingart as Clytus. And Mariangela Mulatto as Kayla. So, like I said, Alex Raymond created the characters. Michael Allen adapted the story. And Lorenzo Semple Jr. wrote the screenplay. It's directed by Mike Hodges. So in the beginning, Mike Hodges did Get Carter, the original with Michael Caine, which is a really good movie.
Michael Caine.
In the beginning, it was Nicholas Roeg was going to direct. And then something happened, like he was in pre-production. And maybe he was in pre-production. Then they were like, no, we're going to go for Mike Hodges. And then Mike Hodges later asked Dino De Laurentiis, like, why did you choose me to direct this movie? And he goes, I like your face. Like, he's like, what? Like, okay. Like, weird. But it is weird.
Well, it's kind of
like,
weird, though, because they don't usually do headshots of directors. So,
well,
I like your face.
it's like, did you meet me and you just like me? Like, yeah, it's weird. But also, when you look at, although after Flash Gordon, then he makes more kind of comedy movies. So it's kind of weird that he would pick him. But anyway, this is Chip's favorite part. Recasted, Flash Gordon style, 1980. But for now. Okay, you ready? I go first. Flash Gordon, Emil Hirsch. I went 30s. You went 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
Emil Hirsch, you make him blonde. I saw some pictures of him as blonde. So you get Emil Hirsch in there. He's born in like 85. Dale Arden is Dakota Johnson.
Okay. Nice.
The Emperor Ming. I, of course, had to go. I was going to go James Wong, who turned 92 and finally got a star on Hollywood Boulevard. Did you see that? From Big Trouble in Little China. But I went.
Awesome.
But I went with Ken Watanabe.
Yeah.
Dr. Hans, although he doesn't have to be Asian, because the one that I watched last night, the serial, he's a total white guy.
Yeah.
Dr. Hans Zarkov, Judd Hirsch, because he's in the Goldbergs. And he plays like he's like a funny, like an old guy. Like I could see him being funny and being like a scientist, like kind of off his rocker when he's like, "Oh yeah, there's a phone booth," and then Flash is like, "Yeah, hang on, I gotta, Princess Aura, Mila Kunis.
Oh, okay, that'd be cool.
Prince Baron, Zac Efron. Like I could see him duded up in like a Robin Hood type outfit.
Yeah, that would work. That would work really well with him, yeah.
Prince Voltan, Jason Momoa.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he'd be a big guy, be funny. Clytus, just for the voice. Tom Hiddleston. He's got a cool voice. I was almost thinking of the guy in the movie, in the Fantastic Beast movie. I was almost thinking that guy. But I said, no, I'll go with Tom Hiddleston. The main guy from Fantastic Beasts that I can't think of his name. You're supposed to help me.
Yeah. I'm totally
Now we're drawing blanks. And then Kayla, Lily Collins. So Kayla was the evil one that was like torturing Hans Zarkov. So if you look up Lily Collins, you'll be like, oh yeah, that works. Are you looking up
Eddie
Redmayne? Yes.
Redmayne.
Thank you. So, all right, Chip, what do you got? I'm ready. Here we go. Flash Gordon.
All right. So, like you said, minor. I looked at this as turning this into kind of like where some of the main characters are in their 20s. Everyone else around them that are kind of controlling the situation and everything are older. So
it's a Fast and the Furious Flash Gordon style. I like it.
Kind of. Because Flash Gordon is KJ Apa.
Okay. You just lost everybody. Everybody just tuned out. No, I'm looking it up now on my IMDb.
Riverbell.
Oh, the main guy? Oh, okay. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, just make him blonde.
Yeah.
Boom. Okay. This one you're not going to know her, I don't believe. For Dale Arden is Olivia Holt.
Sounds familiar.
The TV show, the Marvel TV show Cloak and Dagger. She was Dagger.
Interesting. I'm looking at her now. Oh yeah. Okay. She kind of looks like the girl from Baby Driver, a little bit.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah.
All right. Yep. Exactly. All right. Emperor Ming.
Yeah.
Hugh Laurie.
Oh wow. Wow, that would be cool. Oh my God. Wow. I like it.
Sweet. Now, Dr. Zarkov would be Oscar Isaac.
Cool. Interesting. Yes.
Especially that's recently watching the Moon Knight stuff, I could see him being the crazy.
Did he get paid twice for Moon Knight? Like for playing, or three times playing all three characters? Yeah.
Or at least like a little bonus.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Princess Aura.
Uh-huh.
I'm going the way I did before, where I'm going with a singer.
Uh-oh.
Billie Eilish.
I thought you were going to say Miley Cyrus. Billie Eilish. Okay. Yeah, that'd be cool. Cool.
I could see her like doing the whole like centrist thing, but also being like when she's getting tortured, just being a total like fuck yeah.
Yeah. Well,
like,
and also
doing this to me.
And also flirting with the different like, and yeah, where Baron's like, I can trust you. Screw you.
All right, Prince Baron.
Yeah.
You're probably gonna have to look this one up too.
Oh, okay. Got my phone.
Unless you were watching American Housewives quite a bit.
My wife did, but yeah.
Peyton Meyer. He was.
Was he the main kid?
No, well, he was the oldest
M-E-Y.
daughter's boyfriend.
Meyer.
I believe so.
Girl Meets World. Was he in that?
Yep. Yep, that was where I first was introduced to him.
Cool. Yeah, he looks like a little bit like Scott Eastwood, but a little bit like the guy from The Ranch that got into woman trouble.
Oh, yeah.
That guy. He kind of looks like him a little bit. Okay.
All right, you ready for Prince Voltan?
Yes, please.
Jack Black.
Wow. Okay. Totally fits. Just like the other guy. Like that other guy is still so full of life. Like watching that documentary, he's like, so good.
I just saw like even when he was like hitting people on the head with his, and he's like, Wah! And it just the noises that he was making and the way he would act. I was like, that's total Jack Black. What the hell? Like, and you could see him just being a smaller, like with wings and everything, and just being like telling everybody what to do and stuff. And they're all taller than him, but he's like, you're gonna do this.
Yeah.
So, all right, Clytus.
Yeah.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Okay, cool. Yeah. He's got a good voice. Can't say penguins, but he's good. Cool.
That's true.
Yeah.
And for Kawa, the lady that likes to hurt people.
Yeah.
Karen Gillan.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah. She can play evil, as we know. Wow. Yeah, that's good. I like it, Chip. Would you mix and match mine with yours, or just keep with yours? You'd probably keep with yours.
I like mine set the way it is because it was like with that. I don't know. It was weird. Like I don't really think there was anybody that I had to go back and forth with who it could be.
Right.
It was like it was just flowing so
yeah.
perfectly. I was like, oh, and as I'm watching it, because it happened so quickly, as I'm watching the movie, I'm just sitting here going, like, until the end, because the torture girl, didn't really, wasn't a huge factor until kind of later in the show. But everybody else, I was just picturing everybody that I picked, and I was like, God, this would be a great movie.
Yeah.
Modernizing it, because of course there's a telephone in here. Everybody's got cell phones, so you got to change something up. You have to figure some shit out. But like, I was sitting here just thinking, if they redid this whole thing and geared it where a young audience would want to see the dude from Rivervale being Flash Gordon, it would just fucking explode.
Yeah. Well, and you could even do, although they did that series 2006, 2007 to 2008, and it didn't do very well.
Yeah.
So it's
I never even tried that one, so I don't know.
You would think it would be
stylistically good. if they just went in such a direction where you're just like this is stupid,
right?
Because a lot of Flash Gordon, it's got to be style. Like the movie itself was so stylistic that doing it now and modernizing it, you'd have to be able to pull off what they've done so far with Star Trek.
Yeah.
Like, you look at the new Star Trek, the newest series that they've been playing on the Paramount Plus, that they took it in the right direction with still keeping the same style, the same feel, the same everything, but taking it to a whole new level. You'd have to do the same thing with Flash Gordon. You can't just...
Yeah, and that's why one of the rumors is that Taika Waititi might do a Flash Gordon. Like, it was going to be animated by him, be an animated movie, but now they're like, no, we might go full on, and it's like, holy shit, if he did it, like, that would be awesome.
Well, especially after Ragnarok, and now seeing the trailer for the Thor Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
You know he could do it. He could pull it off. Or as a team up or something as directors, like they, other directors have done in the past. Him and James Gunn together could make Flash Gordon amazing.
Yeah, make it real fun. Well, and that's the thing. Sometimes you go, why can't these just be so simple? It seems so simple, and it seems like people like it. But also, I was listening to Jason Bromley's podcast. He's been on the show, Popcorn Promises, and they were doing Evil Dead, and then they were talking about they have their what's your bomb for the week and what's your bullet for the week, like your number one. And they were saying, like, they're tired of, like, Star Wars. Like, they love all the Star Wars, but it seems like it's a cash grab, like, to do that, Marvel and that. And and then even Joe Merle was saying that he didn't like the end of Enterprise of season 2. He's like, I got one episode left, but he goes, the whole show was just kind of like, what are you doing? He's a kid. This is supposed to be Picard. He's fucking badass. As badass as Kirk. Like, give me this. And that's what's cool that you and I talked off mic, and we're not going to do it here. Maybe we'll do it some other time. Strange New Worlds brought back all the feelers from the old show. It tied all this stuff together where you're like, holy shit, that's for deep fans that know their shit, so that's awesome.
Well, and I was totally into Mandalorian when it was kicking ass and everything. And I don't think I really took my time with that. It was like when it was out, I watched it. But yeah, I kind of feel when Book of Boba Fett, I just kind of took my time to watch that. I just really didn't care as much as I thought I would. But now, knowing what I know about the Obi-Wan Kenobi, it's amazing because I didn't realize there's a plot hole in Return of the Jedi that I had no clue that the moment when Luke goes up to Vader and says, I can sense there's good in you. He says one thing to him. He said, Kenobi felt the way you did at some point, kind of a thing. Like he felt the same way and knew that. And it's like, but no, we've never seen that. So this TV show is going to be the moment where he confronts Vader at one point and says, I feel the good in you.
Right.
And then has to run away to protect Luke.
Yeah.
like that's that moment that he mentions in Jedi. And when somebody posted that online, I went, "Oh shit!
Yeah,
there is a point to this whole thing. It isn't just him going, hey, there's Luke.' And,
yeah, because everybody
let's go
was
fight
like,
some stuff.
everybody was like, why? How is he going to meet Vader? When
Mm-hmm.
it's like, last time I met you, I was a student, and now I am the teacher. I am the master. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you ready to get to some? Oh, first of all, how did this movie come into your life? HBO, cable?
Yeah,
probably?
on TV or something like that. I remember it being like this shit's coming. It was
Yeah.
on a list, and I was excited as hell.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think the same way that I am about video games to some of my friends, that I kind of overhype shit sometimes.
Yeah.
I think I remember my dad hyping this movie up and just telling me how much he loved Flash Gordon in the past and everything like that. It was kind of the same thing with Star Trek.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it had to have been, like I said, I don't think that I was 9 years old seeing this movie in the theater, but I might have. But I just remember it being so fucking cool when you're a kid. You're like, oh my God, this rocks. Like, so cool.
well, and that's the cool thing about the movie was that I think, honestly, for the timing of me seeing it, I can say that even as being as young as I would be seeing this movie, there was nothing about it that made you as a kid not understand what was going on.
Yeah.
There
Well,
was no confusion about stuff where it's like too adult for you kind of a situation.
yeah.
So,
Well, and even they said with Dino De Laurentiis was like, he wanted this space opera epic. And one of the stories, of course, from that was George Lucas wanted Flash Gordon. He was like, I want to do Flash Gordon space opera. And they're like, no, we're not going to give you our rights to this, whatever it was. So George Lucas is like, fuck it then, I'll go make my own space opera. And he did.
nice.
But yeah, it's where Dino De Laurentiis want to make it serious, and they kind of knew, like, no, it's a little bit of camp. Like, we got to play it that way, and it works. But are you ready for some listener opinions?
Yeah.
Well, you gotta have an opinion.
Well, opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one.
I hated this movie.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
Opinions vary.
Jana Miller 2401 wrote, "Epic, love it," and then 5 hearts, unquote. JMV Tattoos, our buddy Joe Merle over there at giving tattoos and stuff, wrote, "It's fire," with like 6 fire emojis. Brant Dotson wrote, "I remember Flash Gordon playing heavily on HBO when I was a kid. It was the only year my parents had HBO when I was growing up, and I watched so many movies as a young 7-year-old. I must have watched Flash Gordon a dozen times. This is such a fun movie. There is so much cheese to be found. The writing is bad and the acting is even worse, and I loved every minute of it. The sets and costumes are delightful, and it has great music. Coincidentally, I happened to be wearing my Queen t-shirt while I watched it." 3 hearts.
Nice.
So, and that's all of our listener opinions. All right, Chip, you ready to walk through this thing?
Yep.
All right. To relieve his boredom, Emperor Ming the Merciless of the planet Mongo declares that he will play with and destroy Earth by remotely causing natural disasters. There's ice hail and or not ice hail, fire hail.
Yes.
Hot hail. Yeah, that's what it was.
Hot hail. Yeah.
Remotely on Earth, New York Jets football star Gregory Flash Gordon boards a small plane where he meets travel agent Dale Arden. Mid-flight, the cockpit is hit by a meteor and the pilots are lost. Flash takes control and manages to crash land into a greenhouse owned by Dr. Hans Zarkov. Zarkov believes that the disasters are being caused by an extraterrestrial source pushing the moon towards Earth, and has secretly constructed a spacecraft that he plans to use to investigate. So it's like Thundar the Barbarian. The Earth is going to crash into the moon's going to crash into the Earth. Zarkov's assistant refuses to go, so Zarkov lures Flash and Dale aboard, like you said. Hey, come over here. It's a phone. The rocket launches, taking them to Mongo, where they are captured by Ming's troops. So it's cool, too, in the serial, because that same kind of thing, it's where you're like, did they just watch this and be like, this is great? Like, he escaped Earth, he lands here, they capture him, but the winged guy, Voltan, is like bad. but Prince Baron is good. So Prince Baron helps him like fight. Anyway, it's very cool. The trio is brought before Ming, who orders Dale be prepared for his pleasure. Flash tries to resist, but is overpowered. Ming orders Zarkov to be reprogrammed and Flash executed. Ming's beautiful daughter, but first, before we get to this, so Chip and I talked about, so there was Max von Sydow goes to the guy playing Prince Voltan. I believe it was him. And he's like, I'm nervous. I don't know how to show up for my first scene. Like, what am I going to do? I don't know. I can't wrap my head around it. And he's like, do it with your hands. Like, do something with your hands. So it was either him or the guy that played Clytus being like, do this.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So he was like, oh. So then you got this beautiful scene that works perfect. I don't know how long this took. But when he hypnotizes Dale Arden and then he's running his hand down the side.
Yeah.
And it's from behind him and it's going perfectly over her body. It's like really cool.
Well, and I don't know, just that was really cool just in itself, because you're sitting there probably when you're younger watching this going, oh, he's like you're not thinking camera angles when you're younger. You're like really thinking he's got this control.
Yeah, he's controlling her. Yeah.
Like, whoa.
Exactly. Ming's beautiful daughter, Princess Aura, seduces Ming's surgeon into saving Flash. Again, she's just like, hey, I like you. And he's like, really? And then she's like, bye. Into saving Flash, with whom she fell in love with at first sight. As they escape, Flash sees Zarkov being brainwashed by Clytus, the metal-faced head of the secret police. Aura and Flash flee to Arborea, kingdom of Prince Baron. En route, Aura teaches Flash to use... Because he's like, show me how to do that first. And she's like, no, like, I want to... And he's like, just show me. To use a telepathic communicator to contact Dale. He lets her know he is alive while Aura starts kissing him. And then he's like saying, cool. She's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, he's like, oh, this lady's really turning me on. What?
Yeah. Yeah. What? Dale is locked in Ming's bedchamber, but encouraged by Flash, she escapes. So that part was cool too, where as a movie, although now you've seen it over and over, but when it shows the girl, when he walks in, it finally shows that girl's face, she's in the same outfit. It's not Dale Arden, and you're like, oh, sweet.
Yeah, it just moves the pillow, and he's like, damn it.
Yeah. So there's a part here.
Which now, being older, I'm sitting here thinking, you know why he's pissed? Not just that she got away. He's looking at her going, I already had this one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's my slave. Well, and also, this is my slave girl. She's beneath me. I wanted this girl, like.
Yeah.
But, so on this documentary that I was watching, this guy has a lot of the props from Flash Gordon. And he had the red helmet from those guys with the big, like, smoke mask, the gas mask on. And he's like, here's a mask that what happened was that's the outfit that the guy wore that she shot in the chest, and it smoked up under his mask.
Yeah.
So they set off that, smoke went off, the guy threw up in his mask. So he's like, so I get the mask, and they're like, well, it's been thrown up, and, it had been kind of cleaned out, but he said the guy threw up in this. So he goes, that's kind of a cool, like, I own this, But he's like, also what's funny about buying props is he bought that Flash Gordon, like that sword that at the end, the gold one. He's like, so I buy the sword. I'm like, yes, I need to get it. And he goes, and here it is. And then you get it, and you're like, this is kind of shitty. And he's like, but I own it. It's the sword that was used on the film, and all the gold flakes had fallen off, and now it's like brown underneath and red. And so,
oh, wow.
But it's cool just to own all that stuff. He had some miniature Hawkmen.
I would want one of those football things that he was throwing around.
Yeah.
I'd want one of those because to me, I'd be like, it'd be kind of cool to have that and also have maybe like the crystal from Risky Business.
Yeah,
right
yeah. Have him sitting on your mantle for sure.
Yeah.
Clytus sends Zarkov to intercept Dale, who tells him and Clytus that Flash is alive. Zarkov then reveals he resisted the brainwashing and escapes Mingo City. Mingo City? I think that's wrong. Mongo City, right? With Dale. They are quickly captured by Prince Voltan's Hawkmen and taken to Sky City. Aura and Flash arrive at Arborea, So the production
Arbor Day. Oh.
So I know, right? So again, what do we call something with trees? Arbor Day. No, Arborea. Okay. The production person made the set like all pink, was like, oh, we're doing different things, right? So look, this planet is a tree planet, but everything's pink. And the cinematographer is like, I can't shoot on here. Like, this sucks. Like, no, it's got to be green. So he had to repaint. They had to repaint that whole set, spend money, like, making it green.
And it makes me wonder, like, how bad was it? Like, if he's sitting here going, the lighting would, like, be a headache if everything is bright pink.
Yeah.
And I got to light this and film. Like, what have you done to me?
Well, and you could easily put this with, like, Wizard of Oz, because it's got those colors. It's, like, popping, like.
Mm-hmm.
Or ask the prince to keep Flash safe. A distrustful Baron, in love with Aura, agrees not to kill Flash, but then forces him to perform a deadly ritual. Baron and Flash take turns sticking their hands into a hollow stump with a giant scorpion-like wood beast inside. So that thing, when you're a kid, you're like, oh, that's scary. I remember we would be out in the woods, either be camping and there'd be a tree with holes in it, and you'd be like, look, I'm Flash. But also, you don't know what's in there, but as a kid, you're like, look, I'm like Flash Gordon. You're like, be careful, there's fucking scorpions in there.
Yeah. Well, and I was, when I think about that creature, I think about the from Wrath of Khan, the
thing, the earworm or whatever. The, and then also with this was Richard O'Brien is like the bald guy that's Baron's second in command that he sends down, like puts him in the bit. And he created Rocky Horror Picture Show. He did the theatrical, in the what do you call it? In the theater, like a regular. They did a play, and then they did the
Broadway.
movie. Yeah, then they did the movie, and then they did a sequel, and then he's been in things. He was in Dark City. Remember that movie? When Flash, that was directed by our Crow guy. When Flash has to take an extra turn, that's right. He pretends to be stung as a distraction. So that part's cool too. He's like, ah, and it's like, ha ha.
And you as a viewer sitting there going, oh crap, like, there's no antidote.
You're like,
they kill off their dudes. Like,
Well, and same thing. I think it was the guy that plays that kid that Baron has to kill. He said, I saw Timothy Dalton once, and he was like, hey, you killed me, remember? And Timothy Dalton's like, not even remember, like, whatever. It was like, oh, fuck. But they are both, stung as a distraction and escapes. Baron follows, but they are both captured by the Hawkmen. So now everybody's to one place with the Hawkmen. Clytus informs Ming that Gordon is alive. Gordon's alive! And is given authority to find the responsible party. Aura returns and is taken prisoner and tortured by Clytus and General Kala. So what was cool here, too, about that Gordon is alive comment is, the guy that played, I don't have his name, I have to scroll back up, but the guy that played Prince Voltan, he said he's going to meet the Queen. It's an important thing. The Queen walks up to him. She goes, oh, me and the kids, we watch that movie like all the time. Like, we love it. She's like, when you say that thing, can you say it? Like, whatever. He's like, God's alive. And she's like, yes, he said it. Like, oh. And, like, the kids are there. Like, she's showing the kids, like, look, God's alive. So that was cool. They force her to confess, and Ming orders her banished to the ice cream planet. No, to the ice moon Phrygia, once his wedding to Dale has taken place. Meanwhile, Flash and Baron are taken to Sky City, where Flash and Dale are briefly reunited, and she like loves him so much when they just met like 24 hours ago.
I love we'll tell our babies about this or whatever like that. I was like, what the hell are children? What?
Yeah. Flash is forced to fight Baron in a death match. So this part's cool too, where in that documentary, Robert Rodriguez is saying, I remember we had like a carpet in our living room that we would play like that was the spinning disc, and we would be on there and we'd fight. And he goes, oh, it was so cool.
That's awesome.
But Flash instead saves Baron's life, causing Baron to join him. Clytus arrives, and Flash and Baron kill him. So that's something else that's kind of cool. Like, Clytus shows up, you're like, oh, fuck. And then they just flip Clytus onto the thing, and he dies.
Yeah.
And the actor was like, I was like, no, I can't. Like, you can't kill me. Like, I got to come back. Like, this is when I come back and I become the ruler and it's big. And they're like, no. And Dino De Laurentiis is like, no, you die. I kill you. We flip you, you die. And he's like, what the fuck? And so he goes, so he goes, finally, I was like, fine. So he goes, then he flipped me and I die like right away. And they make sure to push the eyeballs out and do this whole thing.
And his tongue sticking all, yeah.
So that was cool just because they killed him so quick, where it's kind of those cool moments where you're like, oh, cool. Kind of like, Raiders of the Lost Ark, like, poof, like shot the guy. Knowing this will bring retribution, Voltan orders the Hawkmen to evacuate, leaving Baron, Flash, Dale, and Zarkov behind. Ming's ship arrives, and he orders Baron, Zarkov, and Dale to be taken aboard. Ming is impressed with Flash and offers him lordship over Earth in exchange for loyalty. Flash refuses, and Ming gives the order to destroy Voltan's kingdom along with Flash. Flash finds a rocket cycle and escapes before Sky City is destroyed. And I like how he's like, I don't want to be king of no thing. Like, no. Like, you're like, yeah, he's our hero. Flash contacts Voltan, who is hiding on Aboria. Maybe that's when he says Flash is alive. And they plot an attack on, it says Mingo again. I swear it was written wrong. Mongo City. Flash pretends to attack Mongo City alone on his rocket cycle.
Well, Mongo is the whole place, right? So Mingo is the actual city.
Maybe.
Within...
Oh, maybe you're right. Mingo City. Okay, I'll buy it. On his rocket cycle. So he's going to attack the city alone. Like, he's coming in like Captain America. General Kala dispatches the war rocket Ajax to kill Flash. But the Hawkmen ambush and seize the rocket. And that part's cool. Like, they're landing on the wings and, like, all that stuff. And another thing with that I told you before, but I haven't told the audience. The Hawkmen, Voltan was like, Dino De Laurentiis is like, I'm going to give you a sword. He's like, a sword? No, I've read the books. I've watched the thing. I don't have, like, a sword. I should have, like, a club that I beat him over the head with. Like, that's who my character is. And he's like, fine, you'll get a sword club thing. So that's what they give. Meanwhile, Princess Aura overpowers her guard and frees Baron and Zarkov from the execution chamber. So they said the other thing was Timothy Dalton was taking this whole movie like real seriously. And they all knew that they were in it for the camp. So you can see where he's James Bonding it. When he gets that machine gun, he's like shooting them all in the hallway.
Yeah, he's like, I'm a thespian.
Yeah. Flash and the Hawkmen attack Mingo City in Ajax, and Kala activates the defenses as Ming and Dale's wedding begins. Something that's interesting, just real quick on this serial, was they were like, when they ring it 13 times, the wedding will be final. So they're ringing this gong, and Flash is trying to get there, and Baron, and then you hear it like, and I'm counting it out, like, oh shit, it's 10. They better get there. So yeah. Mingo City's lightning field can only be penetrated by flying Ajax into it at a suicidal speed. Flash volunteers to stay at the helm to ensure success and enable the Hawkmen to invade the city. And that's where Voltan's like, no, like, come on. He's like, no, I got to stay here to, and it's one of those cool moments. It's, anyway. Baron and Zarkov enter the control room and confront Kala, who refuses to cooperate. She attempts to kill Zarkov, but Baron shoots and kills her. Baron tells Zarkov to hold the fort while he heads to Sector Alpha 9 to deactivate the lightning field. Zarkov tries, but is unable to deactivate the shield from Kala's control room. Baron fights through Ming's guards and gets to Sector Alpha 9 and deactivates the lightning field before Ajax hits it. Flash flies through it because it's burning, it's smoking, like you're like, oh shit, he's gonna die. Flash flies the rocket ship into the city's wedding hall, and the ship's bow impales Ming. He drags himself off the rocket nose, and it's done pretty well. It looks like they lined it up really good. Sometimes those movies, they don't line it up real well.
Yeah, no, especially like when people pull swords out of themselves and stuff. Nope.
Seriously wounded. and Flash offers to spare his life if he will stop the attack on Earth. Ming refuses and attempts to use his power ring on Flash, but his power falters and nothing happens. He then aims the ring at himself and is seemingly vaporized by its remaining power, seconds before the counter to the destruction of the Earth reaches 0. A huge victory celebration ensues. Baron and Aura become the new leaders in Ming's place. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, it just made me think of like the Ewoks and everybody cheering.
The award ceremony at the end of the first movie. Baron names Voltan the general. Not Phantom Menace, everybody. Shut up. They're like, the first movie, there was an award ceremony. Baron names Voltan the general of their armies. Flash, Dale, and Zarkov discuss returning to Earth. Zarkov says he does not know how they will get back, but they will try. Baron tells them all they are welcome to stay, but Dale says she is a New York City girl and it is now too quiet around Mongo. The final frame shows Ming's ring being picked up by the hand of an unseen person. Ming's evil laugh echoes as the ending credits roll. Following the credits, the text, "The End," is shown on the screen before a question mark is appended. So the thing here, too, with that end scene, they were like, they said the thing comes up, it's going to ask him questions, like the little thing, like what we were just talking about. What was that movie called? Big Trouble in Little China. It's like that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And but he just jumps up, and they were like, that was just him, like, I got victory, and they stuck with that freeze frame. Like, pretty cool.
That's awesome.
The end. So, yeah.
Now, for when you're a kid and you're all about this movie, it sucks when they're saying "the end?" ? And you're sitting here wondering, like, when's the next one?
Yeah.
When's the next one? You're wanting the next one so bad.
Yeah, you have no internet. Yeah.
Yep. So you don't know what the hell's going on. There's, they're not like letting everybody know, and the trades or anything like that, saying, "Hey, just letting everybody know we're not actually going to make that sequel."
Yeah.
Because the lead actor was a douche, and things like this of this nature, and we didn't make enough money.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah, and then it never came, and so people are like, "Damn!" But it's good for what it is, like just by itself. Rotten Tomatoes critical consensus reads, "Campy charm and a knowing sense of humor help to overcome a silly plot involving a spacefaring ex-football player, his adoring bevy of groupies, and a supervillain named Ming the Merciless." So I give this movie 3.5 out of 5 cellular hearts. What do you give it?
I don't know. I would say 3.5. I wanted to say 4, but I don't know. It's something that I go back to just as a refresher kind of a thing every so many years, where I'm just like, I kind of feel in the mood for that,
Yeah,
just to see it again and kind of get the nostalgia thing, but that's about it. It's nothing.
Yeah, it's still fun, but it's nowhere up there like a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood or whatever we've recently done. So you're just like, it's good for what? So you have to almost take yourself out of the nostalgia of it and be like, yeah, I'll give it, 3.5.
Yeah. Yeah, because it doesn't really, I don't know. And honestly, it doesn't do it for me anymore because of the fact that, like, there was nothing else like it. Now, like we're saying, the possibility of, the writer-director of the last, Thor movie and a new one, possibly going to do this. I would love to see that, because then it would be modernizing it and bringing it to the point of the visuals that we saw in Thor Ragnarok and stuff like that, going back and watching it very much makes it, the further we get away from it, the more it makes it one of those situations where it is for a nostalgia's sake. It's not for the actual movie anymore. It's not really.
Yeah, it's
for. You're not sitting here going, "There's nothing like this out there." Now you can say, "Well, there kind of is."
Yeah, and and it's just fun. It's just a fun watch. So you're just like, "Oh, I love it." It's very cool. All I'm getting this weird sound, but whatever. We'll fix it. So are you ready for Phil's film favorite of the week?
Yes.
Chip already knows
It's
what
not
it
the,
is.
It's not the Phil's film bomb of the week.
No. Do you want to hear my... Chip is leading me up to tell you my bomb of the week.
Yes.
So
very much
everybody, I talked a couple weeks ago about how I watched Armed and Dangerous because I'd never seen it. It's on HBO Max, and I liked it. I was thoroughly entertained. It was kind of a weird feeling because he was so serious, but it was funny. And then I was like, oh, Airheads. It says if you like this, you might like Airheads. And I'm like, I remember that being a bomb, but I should watch it because I've never seen it. I watched a trailer. I'm like, oh, it looks fun. It's got Michael Richards in it. It's got Joe, what's the guy's name? Guy with the weird eye from Criminal Minds. Joe Montana. And it's got our guys from Encino Man, and it's got Adam
Sandler,
and it's got Steve Buscemi, and it's got Chris Farley, and it's got Ernie Hudson. Like, I'm like, oh shit, like maybe this will be good. And you watch it, and the jokes are not. I didn't laugh once. I laughed once when Brendan Fraser, the guy we're trying to think of, comes in and he's like, they said that I have to let one person go if they're going to give us something. And Adam Sandler goes, I'll go. And you're like, you're one of the people. So I was like, okay, that's funny. But other than that, it was just like, it was like, I get the premise of it. The premise was good, but just wasn't very funny. So, but then pulling Michael McKean, another person, pulling him around by his ponytail while he's sitting in the rolling chair, like they're just pulling him all over. That was funny.
Yeah, nice.
But anyway, my good movie of the week, Phil's film favorite of the week, is Friday Foster, 1975. By the way, for Airheads, I gave that 1.5 hearts.
You gave it a half? I thought it was just gonna be one, just straight out one.
I think it was 1.5 because I laughed once. And because it was okay. So like on Letterboxd, they have also 5 stars. You can rate it from 1 to 5 stars. So I did 1.5. But anyway, my one for the week is everybody write in if whatever you got a problem with Airheads, and you let me know. Fight for your right to party. Friday Foster, 1975, Pam Grier movie. The plot. Friday Foster, a magazine photographer, goes to Los Angeles International Airport to photograph the arrival of Blake Tarr, the richest black man in America. 3 men attempt to assassinate Tarr. Foster photographs the melee and is plunged into a web of conspiracy involving the murder of her childhood friend, a U.S. senator, and a shadowy plan called Black Widow. So it was like pretty cool. Like I was expecting kind of like one of these blaxploitation silly, like I remember watching this before and I didn't like it as much because I wanted it to be like Coffee and Foxy Brown, and this was more of like a serious movie. She was only naked in it once instead of through the whole movie. Like that's what those exploitation movies go for. It's okay, you'll like it. It's in the shower right before Apollo Creed attacks her and tries to kill her with a knife. And then she runs down the hall in a towel. But it was really good. I give it 4 hearts.
Sweet.
I really liked it. It was one of those pleasantly surprised where you're like, okay, that was cool, So I enjoyed it. Are you ready to tell them what's coming up, Chip?
Yeah.
All right. Come back on May 20th for...
In 1977, Voyager 2 was launched into space, inviting all life forms in the universe to visit our planet. In 1984, someone accepted our invitation. Get ready. Company's coming. John Carpenter's Starman.
Get ready, company's coming this Friday to a theater near you.
That's right, from 1984, it's Starman. So Chip said, let's call it To Infinity and Beyond. But not and beyond, just To Infinity ... That's where the and beyond. So everybody's like, oh, you're doing Toy Story. No, we're doing Flash Gordon and Starman. So Flash Gordon is about a guy who goes into space. Starman is about an alien who lands on our planet and all that. So, yeah, John Carpenter's Starman. Go ahead.
Well, and it's good. It's a good thing we went this route because
Yes.
I forget what it was that made us think about Starman and it was El Royale.
Yes.
Because the moment where he was lost.
Yeah.
Jeff Bridges was lost looking at when she turns around and sees him standing there, just kind of looking at the hotel, and he doesn't know where he's at and why he's there.
Yeah.
The way his motion was made me think of how he played the character in Starman, so that's why that got brought up. Yeah. But you'll be glad, people, that we decided to do Starman, because honestly, the one that probably should have went with Flash Gordon would have been Unidentified Flying Oddball.
Yeah, I guess so. Now that you think about it, yeah, Chip and I have been talking about that movie, but my thing with Starman, just like Unidentified Flying Oddball, we haven't seen it forever, so it'll be fun to dive into and be like, oh, do I like it still? Do I not like it? Whatever. It doesn't hold up. Like, it doesn't even seem like a John Carpenter film. Like John Carpenter, is They Live, Escape from New York, like all those.
So then what would go with Unidentified Flying Oddball, you ask? Condor Man.
A Kid in King Arthur's Court. But Condor Man, don't get me started on Condor Man.
See, look what I did, people.
Yep. Condor Man, like Flash Gordon, makes me like, dude, like, this guy's so cool. I want to own a truck that I push a button and I go down into a Pantera and I take off out of the truck. Fucking being chased by a bunch of Porsches. Oh, fucking awesome. But also my thing was Flash Gordon could have went with Dick Tracy because they're both like comic book strips. I do want to do Dick Tracy sometimes. But yeah, everybody, that's
definitely
the other thing.
Not the Shadow.
Chip wants, yeah. Oh God, no. I watched that recently. Phantom is way better than the Shadow. But even Spirit is better than the Shadow. Chip wants everyone to let us know what you think of. Hey, it's Frank Miller. Let us know what you think. If you have some ideas what we should do, then let us know. But you probably all clocked out. You're like, this is the end of the thing. Click. Done with the podcast. But certain movies stick with you. They stay in your head and heart forever. And from all of us at My Cellular Heart, keep watching movies. What do you have to say, Chip?
Gordon's alive.
That's what I was going to say. But instead, I'll say, I don't know. Can't even think now. Now you got me flustered. How dare you? Goodbye, everybody.
He's so bad.
I know, right?